Well, I was a dentist and I worked as a dentist for 7, 8 years. And I was really devastated by how many teeth I was taking out in 4-year-olds. It
Wow.
sucks, let alone
Yeah.
for the 4-year-old in the chair and the parent that's filled with huge amounts of guilt. And me, who would do it, and I work well with kids, so I'd see a lot of kids and would make it as positive an experience as I could, but I didn't like it either. And I
Mm.
felt that I was just being a band-aid in the clinic. By the time families were seeing me, it was too late. And it's so common. The statistics are just devastating, the rates of tooth decay in children, and they're not getting better. And I felt that I was dealing with these parents that wanted answers and didn't know where to get the answers from. And in such a short amount of time that you have in these appointments, we just weren't getting the breakthroughs that we needed. So I took a step back from dentistry, actually. I had been accepted to specialize in pediatric dentistry, which was all I had thought that I wanted, but realized that that was just going to make me a band-aid for longer. So I decided in 2020 of all years that I was going to take a year off. And we all know what 2020 turned out to be, which was actually a really wonderful time for me just to realize that intervening in the clinic wasn't for me. And I studied to be a teacher. And I went back to uni online, as we did in 2020, and studied. And then at the end of 2020, decided to start a business. I decided that I wanted to help families and I loved to teach and I loved to teach about teeth. So I said, I'm going to do it and started in 2021, worked for 5 days, and then everything got shut down for 6 months, but then picked back up at the end of 2021. And it's just been strength to strength ever since. And I feel like I can make so much more difference. I can have so much more of an impact working the way I work now than I could when I was in the clinic, which I love.
Oh my God. It's so incredible and just such a different path, right? I think that having that realization, so many of us go to school, think, this is the career path, and then you kind of get there and you're like, oh, this isn't what I thought it would be. I'm not having the impact that I thought I could have. That's kind of why I love businesses, because you actually get the power to reach the people whose lives you are actually trying to impact.
Absolutely. And I love it's so nerve-wracking when you go out and you do something on your own. But I chose dentistry for a reason. I didn't love it, but I've now found the part of my job that I do love that gives me so
Mm.
much purpose and brings me so much joy. And it's there. If we can look for it, we can find it.
Oh, I love that. And I mean, it's really interesting, like finding the parts of your job that bring you joy. I even feel like we need to do that in business sometimes, because when we start our business, we think, okay, we'll do this and we'll do this. Or, maybe you were something, you had a job and now you're kind of consulting in the same job, and people kind of build these businesses around what they think it needs to look like. And at this time of year, it is a really nice time to kind of go reflect and figure out what parts of the job bring you joy, what parts of the business bring you joy, so that you can align the mission and align the path forward to those parts.
Absolutely. It's the why. Coming back to why we do something. When we're in business, especially when we're starting and we're building a client base and we're growing the business, we're very much wanting to do everything we can to help everyone within our abilities. But you then reach a point where you go, well, I'm actually not doing as much of the things that I really wanted to do, the things that I'm really good at, the things that are my specialty. And it's great at this time of year when things do slow down to really refocus. And whenever things feel like they're getting a little bit out of control, go, why do I do this? And
Yeah.
what brings me joy? And really recentering and refocusing on that, because we work for a really, really long time and we want to love it. We want to be able to be excited to get out of bed in the morning. And I love that I can say that that's true in the work that I do.
It's so true. And so you obviously studied to be a dentist, then obviously studied to be a teacher, and then started the business. What was it like going from kind of career and then actually launching a business? What was that transition process like for you?
It was a little bit strange, but I think the benefit that I had was the time that came with COVID, that it almost gave me a little bit of an excuse to not be in the clinic, because a lot of dental practices where I am in Victoria, we were completely shut or mostly shut bare bones staff for a couple of years. So for me, I had a lot of time to sort of explore almost privately and build the business. And I knew that it was there. I knew that this was something that I wanted to do, and I knew that I wanted to do it right, and I wanted to build strong foundations. So I started to build people around me. I did business coaching right from the very beginning of my business, which is such a big gamble when you're starting a business because it's expensive and you feel like you really have to back yourself to
Yeah.
do it. But I think because I had the time and I'd sort of had a year to reflect and recognize where I really wanted my path to go, it almost gave me permission to then sort of step in 2021 to exploring that and really giving myself the opportunity to grow the business and do it how I wanted to do. And I'm so grateful that despite everything that came 5 days after I started working, that I was able to continue and to pull through and then to go from strength to strength after that. It's been incredibly wonderful.